Hey Darnell Dolphins, it's Miss Da Silva, your school counselor. Thank you for joining me for another weekly lesson. March is Women's History Month, so that is what we will be focusing on for today. So let's celebrate women's history. So let's start off by looking at this image. What message do you think that these women are sending? If you look at this picture of all of them, let's think about it. I want you to think about that, and then we're going to learn a little bit more about International Women's Day, which was actually last week on March 8th, and Women's History Month. And you might have a better understanding of why I'm showing you this picture first. So, the first Women's Day in 1908, women in New York City decided that they wanted to speak up, and they protested because they wanted changes. And there was certain things that they asked for. They wanted shorter work hours. So right now, there are certain rights for people when they work, that if they work over a certain number of hours, then they have to get paid more or they're not allowed to work anymore. And so that was something that women wanted for them, so that they didn't have to work super long, crazy hours. And they also asked for better pay. They wanted to get paid what they should be getting paid for their work. And they also asked for the right to vote. So, can you believe that? That in 1908, so that's just over 100 years ago, that women were not allowed to vote just because they were women. Men, only men. Um, so, that is a picture of women that were marching in New York City, and they were asking for more equal rights. So, International Women's Day is now celebrated every year on March 8th. And it gives us the opportunity to celebrate the many contributions that women have made to our society. In every country, women struggle to have the same rights as men in all different areas: social, political, and economic. So, what that means is being treated the same as men, getting paid the same as men, and having the same opportunity for their voices to be heard as men. So, on International Women's Day, we talk about the issues that women face, but we also take the opportunity to celebrate the achievements of women because there's so much to celebrate. So, remember, I talked about how women speak up so they can have a voice? Here is an example of why women have to keep speaking up for this type of thing, because of the 196 heads of state, so those are like presidents, people that lead, maybe a prime minister, people that lead whole countries within politics. Only 21 of those people out of 196 were women, and that was in 2015. So that's only about 10%. That means that a lot of decisions are made without a woman's perspective, meaning it's a lot of men that are in positions of power in politics, and it's harder for women to get to those types of positions and to be leaders. So if you're a woman and you're considering going into politics, I strongly encourage you because it's very needed. There's also inequality for women in education. So in some countries, families send boys to school while girls are arranged to be married. So the girls don't get to go to school. And that means that then they don't know how to read, and they don't know how to do all these things that you guys are learning that will help you in your future. Excuse me. All right, so with that being said, that means it's time for certain things to change, right? So a lot has changed, but there's more that needs to change. So let's watch a video about women coming together that are telling us that it's time for a change.
I mean, 170 years to gender parity.
Where were women working in football?
It's just not right.
I'm just really fed up by the way the world treats us when all we're trying to do is survive.
If anybody ever says to me, women don't do that,
Gentlemen to the boardroom, and you'd be left standing there thinking, what about me?
I say, not yet. There's always got to be a first.
Men are still holding 70% of the senior positions. They're the overwhelming majority of the C-suite leaders.
I don't think sexism is going away at the moment, and women have basically got to create their own space. They got to create their own niche. They got to create their own opportunities and be bold to take them.
We're consciously incompetent. We understand the challenge ahead of us. We have to have the robust conversations. They are going to make us uncomfortable, but not having them is non-negotiable.
And there are just so many stereotypes of who we are and what we have to be. And it can feel really tiring every day to feel that if I say this or if I do this, then you're going to think I'm aggressive, or you're going to think I'm angry, or I'm sassy, or I'm this, or I'm that.
I ultimately had to make a choice between this very senior position at a global company and the ability to see my daughter.
I guess other people could call it bold. I just kind of give myself the permission to tackle the issues that I think we need to change.
You need to be your own advocate. So go to your boss, list your achievements, and say, I think I'm ready for promotion. What do you think?
And if you let me be me, I promise you, I'll be the best me I can be.
I mean, I have a young son and daughter, and, what I tell them is to dream big. Don't constrain your thinking. Be very prepared to work hard, but actually follow your dreams.
Don't be put off by it's a man's world, that's a man's job, that's what men do. It's actually, no, everybody can do this, and women particularly can as well.
This is who I am. You take it or you leave it. It's not that hard.
You've got to basically say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to make a change.
All right, well, I hope you got something from that video. I noticed something in the video that I wanted to mention, and one of the women was saying how if girls or women are in like a leadership role, then they're called sassy or bossy. And so all the girls that are listening right now, I would just like to make sure I mention that just because you like to lead and maybe be in charge of certain things, that's a great thing for you to try out. And it doesn't mean that you're too bossy or too sassy. It's still very important to be kind to everybody, but you can be kind and be a leader without meaning that you're sassy or bossy. So I also wanted to ask you, how do you think that the messages in the video relate to International Women's Day? So if you think about some of the stuff I told you about International Women's Day, just want you to think about that. So also remembering that image I showed you in the very beginning of all the women making the same sign, it was showing that women come together, that we will have the biggest change if we all celebrate women together, and if we all work towards the same change together, because that is what makes the biggest impact, is when there's the larger group of people. So as we finish, I would like you to think of a woman that you know and that you want to celebrate. Write that person a letter and tell her why you want to celebrate her. So you just start off and you say, I want to celebrate you for International Women's Day because da da da. All right. So remember, it's really important that we tell these women in our life that they are amazing and why we want to celebrate them. And this month, and specifically on March 8th, which I know just passed, but that's okay. It's a really good reminder for all of us to celebrate the women in our life. All right. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.